When I pulled out a sheet of paper, the prosecutor said, "Write a denunciation." This resonated powerfully in my head. I'd never written a denunciation in my life.
Șerban Marinescu is an architect based in Bucharest. He and his team won an EU-financed tender to redesign public areas in the southern town of Râmnicu Vâlcea. But the mayor, Emilian Francu, asked for what was termed a commission of 10%, or about 20,000 euros.
Suddenly all the implications were concentrated in this word, denunciation, that there would be a trial, a hearing, and who knows what else.
Marinescu's decision did have a powerful impact. The mayor who demanded the kickback is now serving a 4-year term for extortion. The body that investigated the case was Romania's National Anticorruption Directorate, or DNA. It's been a permanent fixture in the Romanian news since 2005, when government reforms gave the directorate broad autonomy within the justice system and allowed its prosecutors to operate independently. In the past year alone, the DNA has referred almost 1,000 people to the courts. Those convicted on corruption charges include ministers, senators, judges, sports stars, and former Prime Minister Adrian Nastase. Laura Codruță-Coveși, Romania's former prosecutor general, took over as the DNA's chief prosecutor last year.
The number of denunciations that we have received at the National Anti-Corruption Directorate has increased quite significantly in the past year. And I think that the reason for this is the trust that citizens have in our activities.
Coveși rejects accusations that the DNA is too close to Romania's current president, Traian Basescu, and says it has investigated officials across the political spectrum.
This year, we've investigated ministers who are members of government or have been in the past, as well as members of parliament from different parties. So I think that our actions refute those baseless accusations.
The DNA's probes have reached all the way to the family of the president. The media devoted heavy coverage this month as authorities detained Mircea Basescu, the brother of President Traian Basescu. Mircea Basescu is accused of taking 250,000 euros for promising to help reduce the sentence of a businessman jailed for attempted murder. In a televised statement, President Basescu denied any involvement in the case.
Finally, I would like to assure you that between the need to strengthen the justice system and the natural impulse to defend one's brother, I choose to strengthen the justice system.
De-a-ți apăra fratele, aleg consolidarea justiției. Vă mulțumesc.
Laura Ștefan, an anti-corruption analyst, says the case is an important indicator of Romania's changing political landscape.
In the Romania of 2014, criminals are jailed. Important people in our country end up behind bars if they are corrupt. It is a Romania where Traian Basescu, the president of the country, says, "Between my brother and justice, I choose justice." I think this is an essential change and also a symbol that shows how painful it is sometimes to carry out reforms.
An earlier watershed moment in anti-corruption efforts came in 2012, when Prime Minister Adrian Nastase was imprisoned here at the Rahova Penitentiary in southwest Bucharest for illegal fundraising practices. He was later sentenced to additional jail time for blackmail and accepting bribes.
The incarceration of Adrian Nastase was like an earthquake for Romanian society. It was a turning point. After him, many others went to prison for similar wrongdoings. But before that moment in June 2012, we never had such an important man, a symbol of power in Romania, who was punished for corruption by a Romanian court based on a case built by Romanian prosecutors.
Observers say that pressure from the European Union and the United States has helped drive the changes in Romania, but so has an increasingly active and civic-minded society.
There is a growing minority that obviously wants the state to reform itself, to become more honest and just. And this class is becoming bigger and bigger. So it exists, and I think that it's going to grow.
But some say for those gains to become permanent, the Romanian people will have to stay engaged in the fight against corruption.
In December, presidential elections are going to be held. I think it's going to be very important whether the president who will be elected supports or does not support the fight against corruption.
I think that in the end, it's up to us, the citizens of this country, to care. It's up to us to vote differently. It's up to us to behave differently in our daily lives.